So what is going on, Navigation Nation? Welcome back to another Friday here at the Navigation Station. So good to have you all here joining me once again. And for tonight, we're just going to be discussing 2021. Yeah, it's just started. So we're going to talk about, things that I expect to happen in 2021, answer some of the questions that you guys have about products being released this year. Where's the market heading? All things of that nature, with 2020 being such a huge milestone, and some of the craziest growth that we've seen in Pokemon really since the beginning. Who knows what we can expect from 2021? So that's really what I want to jump in here with tonight and get some of your questions. I'll also fill you guys in on just kind of some new things coming down the pipeline, some new content that I'll be sharing soon. And yeah, it should be a fun episode. We'll probably keep it to around an hour or so tonight, but I'll try to get through, just as always, with as many questions as I can. With the last few weeks, we've been doing the box breaks with the with Vivid Voltage on New Year's. We did that, so I wasn't able to answer as many questions as I'd like. So here we are, back again with another live Q&A. First thing, let's go ahead and welcome everybody that is rolling in the live chat. So we got Daniel Sheriff, Jonathan Flores, CK, Mr. Brain 915, Blake. As always, Blake always rolling in. What's going on, man? I appreciate it. I'm trying to keep it well groomed here. Keep it nice and manicured. My wife tells me I can't have it unless it's well manicured, nice and soft. Gotta have that beard oil. Been getting the beard oil from a PokéNav. No, just kidding. But one of these days you might see a collaboration. Who knows? You might see a little collaboration, little PokéNav beard care line. I think our two faces on the front. Yeah, who knows, guys? Who knows? Maybe something in the pipeline there. Well, speaking of, we got Beardmander Pokéden and then Zach Graves as well. So again, guys, thank you so much for being here. Good to have all of you. I guess we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. But as you know, we don't just jump right into the questions. As you guys can see, I want you to show your support for the channel. Give me that double slap attack. One for that like button if you are not subscribed to the channel. Come on, guys. We want to get to that 7,500 subscriber milestone. Things have kind of slowed down a little bit, so we want to get to that 7,500 subscriber milestone. So if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and give me another slap for that subscribe button. And just so you guys don't ever miss these live Q&As, give me that thunder punch, bang, for that notification bell as well. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first one here, and I'm sorry, buddy, I can't see your name actually because of my post, which is actually pinned at the top. But it says, "Love all that you do, man. I really treasure all the info and knowledge. Question: my son and I want to collect all sealed ETBs from XY and Sun and Moon to hold. Good move." It's the thing I like about ETBs is that, well, it's not so much the case anymore, but it used to be that ETBs had less likelihood of being reprinted. Now, granted, we're really only seeing that now with the Hidden Fates ETBs, but I think those in general, from a product standpoint for long-term value, and with the risks that we run of modern and ultra modern and the reprints, I think ETBs are probably one of the better investments. And it actually leads me into something here. We've got a new series that's going to be starting on the channel, I believe next week, actually. First episode will drop of this new series, and basically it is going to be a compilation of interviews. So interviews from people all across the spectrum in the Pokemon TCG world. So that's big name collectors, investors, content creators, business owners, and the like. And that first episode is going to be next week. And if you guys were following me on Instagram, I put out the question to the community if you guys had any questions. Our first guest was Pokemon Radar, and I had the pleasure of speaking with him last night. And where I'm going with this is we were talking about this very thing about, how we felt, were we bullish, were we bearish on modern, on vintage. And I was surprised to learn from Pokemon Radar that he's actually quite bullish with modern products, especially in that short-term time horizon, that 1 to 5 year time frame. But it really boils down, as I said, to picking the products that have a less likelihood of being reprinted. And in this case, I think that ETBs are probably in that particular category. So I think XY, Sun and Moon, I think is probably a good move now. You're just probably going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait that, I would say, at least 3 years before you actually start to see a fairly significant increase in value that would warrant, wanting to sell at that point and kind of cashing out. All right, what else we got here? My boy Jules is joining us as well. Blake says, I know you said MSRP, but if I can get Shining Fates ETB $60 to $65 after taxes and shipping. Wow, that's actually pretty good, man. 60 to 65 after taxes and shipping. Most ETBs retail at about $50. So, if you're depending on where you live, the tax rate, the sales tax rate, right there, you could probably tack on another $8. So you're already close to that 60. Yeah, honestly, that's probably worth it in my opinion. If you're able to get those in a little early, hey, even better. So yeah, I'd say I'd give that my buy approval there. Hey, what's up, Julianos, Diego? How are you guys doing? Security Daz. Hey, welcome from the UK, man. Good to have you here. Hey, we got someone at Kelvin Corp coming in from the Netherlands as well. Very cool. So it's so baffling to me to know that there's people from all over the world that actually take the time to watch my content. It's just really cool. It's awesome that the channel can have that reach and be able to connect with that many people. It's always a really good feeling. So glad to have you guys here. Giuliano says, have you looked at any of the EX era sets? Team Rocket Returns seems pretty good to invest in. Oh, definitely. EX era. My hope is that I can get some of those sets, acquire some of those sets to do some box breaks with. Love to be able to do that. I kind of want to curate my box breaks around those particular eras. EX, Diamond and Pearl, Black and White. And maybe a little XY as well. Maybe a year or so down the line, start doing a little more XY, or even now doing a little more Flash Fire. But those are amazing eras, and they kind of fall in that what I call the Goldilocks zone. Now, Team Rocket Returns, that's a really expensive booster box if you're looking at that, or really any of those products. Same thing with like Dark Explorers. You've got. What are some of the other ones? Delta Species, especially. Those are getting up there in price, and some of them even more expensive than WotC era products. But I definitely think those are good investments. And like I said, one that I hope to get on here and hopefully be able to provide to you guys as well in the form of a box break. See, Bug Enthusiast says, our base set first edition worth sending for PSA grading? Yes, most definitely. And even if they're not in a PSA 10 or even PSA 9 condition, even if they're near mint, PSA 7, PSA 8. Remember, guys, these are the rarest cards. These first edition base set cards, these are the rarest cards, or the oldest cards, at least for the English portion of the TCG. So yes, if you've got first edition cards, base set especially, definitely get those graded. Definitely. Let's see what else we've got here. Security Dawes says, I have 3 Vivid Voltage Charizard theme decks I'm holding on to, and saw your video. I totally agree. They will go up in value for sure. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's always a waiting game, and you can predict and project, but the proof is always in the pudding. But I definitely see potential there. TC Knight says, how do I find wholesalers? Should I look for one locally? What are your thoughts on looking for multiple wholesalers? Should I keep loyalty to one? Well, the first thing that you're going to need to do, if you haven't done so already, is in order to work with a distributor / wholesaler, you are going to need to get established as a business entity. Sometimes that's just as easy as getting set up as a sole proprietor, and then you will also need to get a reseller's permit in order to work with wholesalers and distributors. Now, there is a link on Pokemon's website. If you just type into Google, type in Pokemon TCG distributors, it should take you to that page on Pokemon's website of the companies throughout the United States, Canada, Asia Pacific region, and Europe that are verified wholesalers for the Pokemon company. And what I would recommend doing is shopping around. Look at, contact multiple, find where you can get the best prices, find where you can establish a good relationship. And then once you've found one and you've got a sales rep that you like and that goes to bat for you, then yeah, I would say, pay your loyalty to that particular company. And then also look for one that is within a pretty close proximity to where you live. Because if, let's say, I live in Arizona, if I'm working with a distributor on the East Coast in New York, if I'm trying to get product, it's probably going to take a while for me to get that, especially now with, pandemic still going on, and the mail service isn't always reliable. So it'd be better to work with one that is closer to you, but it doesn't always necessarily work out that way. But those would be my recommendations. Kelvin Corp says, what do you think about grading modern cards with CGC? I did a whole video on CGC, gosh, it's been a few months ago, right about the time that they had announced that they were grading cards. Personally, I have not graded any cards with CGC myself, so I can't give you my own experience with that. I've heard both pros and cons with CGC. From some people, I've heard that they were very transparent. They gave updates all along the way for those that sent their cards into them. And they were very good in connecting with their customers. And then I've also heard some of the horror stories. You guys probably saw that thing about the CGC case that was basically pried open with somebody's bare hands. So it's tough to say, with them being the new kid on the block, so to speak. They're trying to make a name for themselves, and for me personally, I just haven't gone through them directly, but it's definitely growing in popularity. I see more and more CGC cards out on the market now, and I believe there were also the first ones that graded that the prototype Blastoise cards, the very first English Pokemon cards, which, if you don't know, those prototype Blastoise, it was basically Wizards of the Coast trying to figure out, how they wanted to design the cards, and those Blastoise were the first ones that they came up with. So the CGC's got those under their repertoire now, so I think they're on the up and up. Pao Fa says, I bought reprint Hidden Fate ETBs for $70 a box. Was that a steal? I don't think that's necessarily a bad price. Again, MSRP for most Elite Trainer boxes is $49.99, $50. So, if you're getting it for $70 out the door, it's still not a bad deal, in my opinion. I just think we're going to see more Hidden Fates reprints over the course of this year, and perhaps even into next year. But we will see. Hey, PokeBen TM, thank you so much for that super chat, my friend. He says, yo, bro, love the content. Just started my Pokemon YouTube. Hope to get as big as you soon. Well, I still have a long ways to go myself, my friend. It's always an uphill journey, no matter where you're starting at, no matter where you're currently at. It's always an uphill journey, and I certainly appreciate that, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey as well. It's this whole realm of content creation is it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing, and it's hard skinning your teeth in the beginning and trying to get started. So I give a lot of kudos to anybody out there that is taking on this content creation endeavor. But again, thank you for that, my friend. I appreciate that super chat. Hey, we got Rudy from Germany. What is going on, my friend? Hello. Trying to remember. I'm trying to off the top of my head, trying to remember some of my German here. Well, I know one, Danke Show. And I know I probably botched that, but I believe that's I think that's thank you very much. But yeah, man, thanks for being here. Thanks for, I don't know, I think you guys are about 9 hours ahead of us. So yeah, it's late in Germany right now, or I should say early. It's very early in Germany. Hey, Ireland as well. What's going on? Michael Linehan. What's up, my friend? Got some more people coming in from the Netherlands. Winnie UC. What's going on? Adelina's Adventures. What's up, buddy? When will the box breaks begin? That is a good question. I don't have a definitive date yet on the box breaks. What I want to do first of all is get the website completely done. Right now it's under construction, and the reason I want to wait is because that's where I want people to go in order to buy into the box breaks. That way I've got all the information all in one place. It makes it super easy to handle the shipping, the contact information, everything like that. So once the website is done, then we will start doing those box breaks. During this time, I'm also connecting with different sources out there to garner and procure product. So really, a lot of things are in the works right now in order to make sure that everything is set up appropriately, so that when we do start, try to make it as flawless as possible, because there is a lot that goes into box breaks, and I just want to make sure that I'm well prepared and that everything just flows easily, so that it makes it a good experience for you guys and a good experience for me as well. So I'll give you guys updates as we get a little bit closer. But like I said before, I've got some content to keep you guys satisfied in the meantime. Starting next week, I'm starting that new series, the new interview series, and that first episode is going to feature none other than Pokemon Radar. Really big name in the community, great guy. Had a lot of fun talking with him. We had our interview last night, actually, so I'm looking forward to dropping that. And I guess for you guys that are here in the chat, I'll fill you in on the title of the series, and it's going to go under the name Pokemon Masterclass Series. And it's going to be just that. It's going to be a series dedicated to providing you guys with education, really, knowledge. I really like to get into like the nitty gritty of things with a lot of the guests, so that when you guys are listening to it or watching it, it's one of those where you're like, wow, I need to write this down. Like I want to make sure that there's a lot of insight and to give you guys that diverse perspective from people all across the spectrum. of the TCG. So all the collectors, the investors, the business owners, the content creators, because it's all things that you guys want to know, and that's my goal with that, is to try to make it a class, like a seminar that you would go to, and so that's what I've really tried to do in those interviews. So far I think it'll be so far so good. Last night's interview went really well, and I've got some great guests scheduled down the pipeline. And then obviously with the Jules and I podcast as well, the Pokemon Purveyors. Yeah, we plan on getting guests on there, as well. And then in the meantime, we usually have some really good discussions. If you didn't watch today's episode, that one was fantastic. We got into some a little bit more heated topics. Jules and I were fired up in that episode. So if you haven't seen that one yet, I'd highly recommend going and checking it out. All right, guys, and I'm just going to mention it here. We're rolling through the questions. If you guys saw at the beginning when you signed in here, you got to give me that double slap attack, guys. We're at 100 concurrent viewers here in this live chat. So let's get those likes. Let's get that like up to 100, guys. Let's get it over 100 if we can. I know you guys can do it. All right, let's see here. We're scrolling down. And again, guys, as always, I do my best to try to get to everyone's questions. But if I do not, you can always send me an email, pokenav27@gmail.com, and or over on my Instagram as well. And I'll try to answer it there if I don't get to it here in the live Q&A. Bruno Herget says, what, in your opinion, will have more valuable cards, Shining Fates or Battle Styles, if we have in mind that Battle Styles will represent new type of cards? It's a good point. I mean, we really know what's going to be in Shining Fates because we know what was in Shiny Star V. It's basically going to be the exact same cards in Shining Fates. So, some of the same cards that were valuable in Shining Fates, or excuse me, in Shiny Star V, will also be the valuable cards in Shining Fates. Now, with that being said, you mentioned Battle Styles. I like the fact that I like when a set introduces a new card mechanic or something unique to the TCG. Long-term value, it'll be tough to say. I mean, we don't know a whole lot about the cards that will actually be in Battle Styles. We're starting to get a little bit of information. Some of the cards for the Japanese equivalent, Single Strike and Rapid Strike Master, are starting to roll in. But we, so far haven't really seen cards that are really stand out, other than there is I believe it is the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX card. That card looks beautiful, and if you haven't seen it yet, just go back to my last news episode, the one from Wednesday, and I talk about it in there. So far, from what I've seen, it's going to be the big chase card for Single Strike and Rapid Strike Master, and obviously we'll get those two sets combined to have. God, the name just escaped me. There's so many sets to try to remember, but Battle Styles. Once they're combined to form Battle Styles, then I think that'll be the big chase card in there, at least from what we've seen thus far. But yeah, then you've also got Shining Fates that's got the Charizard in there, and Charizard is always going to hold a premium. So as things stand right now, I would say probably Shining Fates over Battle Styles, but there's a lot of good characteristics about Battle Styles as well. Sat Gaming, coming from the UK. What is going on, my friend? Mini-Me Mole says, I bought a PSA 5 first edition Charizard for $5,750. Did I mess up? Is it worth it? Much love, AZ represent. So I don't necessarily think that you messed up, because I have seen first edition base set Charizards in a PSA 1 go for over $1,000. So, I don't know. I mean, we could probably jump out on the open market and see if there is anything similar. Let me go ahead and bring up eBay and see. Let's see. So from what I'm seeing here, so here we've got a, see, here we go, PSA 1 right here, first edition. So there, first edition PSA 1 Shadowless Charizard, going for $4,800. Let's see what the recently sold listings are, because in the end it's all about what it's actually sold for, not necessarily what they're going for. Let's see if we can find it. I'll just put in PSA and see what we come up with. So here's a PSA 6. Now best offer was accepted, so we don't know exactly what that was. It was listed at $7,500. What else do we have? We've got a PSA 3 for $6,000. PSA 8. So, just from what I have seen here, and that's the thing, guys, I mean, to give a definitive without actually looking, the market's changing all the time. So I have to, come back and refresh exactly where price points are at. And this is typically how I do it, by jumping onto eBay and kind of seeing respectively what some of these prices or what some of these products have gone for. So here's a PSA 4 sold for for $9,000. So yeah, man, I would say that if you got that for the 5750, I think is what you said, I'd say that you actually got a pretty good deal, in my opinion. I'd say that you got a pretty good deal there. I want to see, I'm going to scroll back up to you and see if that's actually what it was. Trying to find your comment. I think that's what it was. Now I can't find it. I think that's what you'd said. But yeah, I'd say, based upon what I'm seeing here, I'd say that's actually a pretty good price. And that's the thing, guys, like, doesn't always have to be in PSA 10, PSA 9 condition. There's cards out there that really in any condition, I've talked about it in a video where I broke down that tiered system of how to determine if a card should be graded, based upon condition, based upon its value, based upon what you can achieve in a profit margin from buying it raw to having it graded, taking into consideration extraneous costs. That first edition base set Charizard, that's one of those tier 1 where no matter what the condition is, get it graded, because as you've seen, it still, even in a PSA 1, still goes for a lot of money. Team Trubbish is asking if anybody has come across Hidden Fates ETBs at any big box stores. I haven't seen them personally myself. I've been in all of the big box stores, haven't seen them. That's the thing with a lot of these reprints too, is they're highly allocated. So it's almost not even worth the reprint, in my opinion. In fact, Jules and I discussed that on the most recent podcast of, if they're going to do it, if they're going to reprint, make it available to everybody. Otherwise, why reprint it? Why make a reprint? If they're trying to combat some of the higher prices for an ultra modern set, then you need to reprint it so that everyone has a shot at actually getting it. Don't allocate it so heavily to where it doesn't impact the larger community. That's at least that's what our consensus was on it for our opinion. Oh, here's a good question. We were, in fact, Radar and I were talking about this the other night. It's from All Day. Do you think gold stars will be sought after enough for the value of PSA 5 to 7s to raise in value? Well, we've already seen that with the near mint cards. So PSA 7 and PSA 8s, those cards, that for me falls into that tier 2 category where even if the card appears to be in near mint status, PSA 7, PSA 8, get it graded. Those gold stars would definitely fall into there. And think about it also, guys, as as you go down that hierarchy of grades, at some point they're going to raise in value so much to where PSA 10s, PSA 9s, even PSA 8s are too expensive. So people are going to go down that echelon. You see that with the first edition base set Charizard, where these cards are still going for a lot of money, even in a PSA 1 condition, because people really want them. It's a rare card, hard to come by, so they're willing to pay that much even for a poor condition card. Gold stars are starting to fall into a similar category, and I think anywhere in there, that PSA 5 to PSA 7, like you were saying, I think there's still a good pickup and will continue to increase in value. Tyler Adolphson says, my cousin has a base set Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. I offered him $1,000 for his entire collection. If I grade those 3 cards and sell them, would I be able to make profit? And it's tough to say. Are these base set unlimited? Are these base set shadowless? Are these base set first edition? That's really what you will determine it. And then when you're considering it, you need to look out on the open market and say to first look at it and say, okay, this is kind of what I perceive its condition to be, and always downplay it. That's what I've found. Like, don't always give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Always downplay it and say, well, you know what, take the more conservative estimate on that card, and then look out on the open market, see what they're going for in that condition. Take into consideration your extraneous costs, things like getting the card graded, reselling the card, so maybe selling fees, things like that, and then see what your profit margin would be, or your estimated profit margin. That will give you the best indication of whether it's a good purchase or not. Signor Mando. So he's saying that you can check the best offer accepted on eBay by going to the source and then searching tax exclusive. So I've never done that before. I used to use Flipper Tools, which was a program by eBay where you could see the actual selling price, but I think they were receiving so much in the form of spam and bots and things like that they shut it down. So that's interesting. I'll make sure to, in fact, I'll write that down now so that I can remember that. Source and tax exclusive. Okay, I appreciate that, my friend. Let's see here. Scampy says, I've seen a ton of Hidden Fates ETBs at my local card shop for $120. One of the employees said that they had a lot in the back as well. Yeah, I think if you're going to find them anywhere, it's probably going to be at the LGS's, local game shops. I think, yeah, if they were in the big box retailers, those would have been scalped almost immediately. So that's probably going to be your best bet, is finding them in your local game shops. That's one of my guy up in northern Arizona. I don't think he even got some. I think they didn't even allocate him any, unfortunately. Checked at some of the other local shops. There's another place here in in the Phoenix Metro called Desert Sky Games that I also frequent, but I didn't see any in there either. So like I said, I think they're just really, really highly allocated. Adrian Aragon says, where would you say is the most reliable online place to buy singles? A good place to go would be Troll and Toad. They've got a lot of singles on there, and Troll and Toad is a big third-party dealer for Pokemon cards. So I would check them out. They've got a lot of singles on there, and they usually are good about giving the conditions as well. Pokemon Geo says, appreciate the investing Q&A. People definitely need to be a little careful with having the buy cards and send off to PSA for instant profit mindset. Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into this, guys. It's definitely not a quick a get rich quick scheme like a lot of people would suggest. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and it takes a lot of time. And it takes understanding, what actually makes a good investment, because there's a lot of cards out there that really aren't worth a whole lot, and people overestimate their value. If you think about it, most cards. Now we see the big value cards in our face, but most cards, even in a PSA 10, are under $200, $150. That's the vast majority of cards. And then there's many cards out there that are under $50. So, you just have to rein in your expectations sometimes. But there's definitely money to be made. There's definitely opportunities to be had. But it definitely takes paying your due diligence and first garnering knowledge and understanding how to go about it in the right way. Let's see what else we got here. Almost Jeff, do you have a connection for Japanese cards? I don't. It's tough, honestly. When you're working overseas, trying to work with somebody in Japan. It's like a whole new dynamic. It's a whole new dimension. And I personally don't have anyone that I work with directly. It'd be nice, perhaps at some point I can, actually work with or find a distributor that works directly in, or that's directly from Japan, because it would be great to be able to get a lot of those products over here and to have a viable source to do so. So, not yet, but I'd like to work on it though. Hey, Brian Oswald, I appreciate that, my friend. I have $150 allocated to spend on packs to open any era, any amount of packs. What would you get? Wow. These are always tough ones, like the finite amount and then what to do with it. For $150, packs, you're probably looking at, there's, I think, a lot of unlimited packs. Well, take that back. From the WotC era, you're probably looking at maybe unlimited, jungle, fossil, Team Rocket. Probably still under that threshold. As modern goes, there's a lot of modern that you can do with that. I think the main thing though is whatever your allocation is, whatever your budget is, what you really want to think about is, how do I expand upon that? So if I've got $150, what is the best way that where's the best place that I can put that perhaps I can flip, When you're working with a small budget like that, you want to build up capital. Okay, you want to turn that $150 into $200, $250, whatever, in whatever increment that you can. So really, you just want to try to find things that are popular. One, what is selling really well. It's not always vintage that it has to be. And you want to try to turn that $150 quickly so that you can build up more capital, because then that gives you more options as to what else you can invest in, and to diversify yourself. The more that you can diversify, the more that you're able to appeal to a wider audience and specifically to a wider customer base. So it's, like I said, it's always tough to give one thing in particular because the market is always changing, but you really just want to look at those things. Look at what's popular, look at what's selling, look at what's within your price range, and what you think that perhaps you can get for less than that. Maybe you pick it up for $100, and then maybe it's a card that you can pick up for $100, and you use that remaining $50 to have it graded, for the reseller fees, for the shipping, and then maybe that card itself is undervalued, and you can turn right around and maybe garner $300 when it's all said and done. So that's what I would say there. I know it's not real specific, but it's hard to give a specific example because there's just so many ways that you can go about it. Hey, OmniPokey in the house. Amazing to see this channel's growth, Nav. Keep it up. Hey, man, I really appreciate that. And by the way, since you're here in the chat, I was actually meaning to reach out to you because I would really like to have you on the new series that I'm starting. I would love to interview you and really dive more into that competitive arena, because I know you are very well versed. You've been in that. You've been very successful in that as well. And that's a perspective that I would like to bring to the audience. So it's funny that you're in here tonight, man, because maybe you can give me the thumbs up on that. Maybe we can schedule something, because you're a wealth of knowledge, my friend, and I know the larger community would certainly appreciate it and welcome it. So keep it in mind. Give me the thumbs up. Angel Torres says, "What do you think of the Sword and Shield figure collection promo?" Not really familiar with what you're referring to there, so let me look it up. There's too many products out there to to keep track of them all. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the Pikachu card. Okay. So yeah, for those that maybe aren't familiar as well, let me go ahead and bring you guys in. So he's talking about this right here. So yeah, so I was actually talking about this very card in, I believe it was the top 10 cards of 2020. I was speaking more specifically about the Japanese card for this, which was actually released, I believe, in, which this is what I'm talking about right here, this Pikachu card, which I believe technically it was released in like late December of 2019, but it was for Sword and Shield, and you got this when you pre-ordered the Sword and Shield base. So yeah, I think that it's definitely, I don't necessarily know so much about the English version. I would imagine that it would continue to rise in value. In fact, let's go ahead and look at the promo specifically. Let's see. See if there's any that have been sold. Maybe. It looks like I'll go ahead and show you guys also the Japanese one. So here's one right here. Show you the Japanese one that I'm talking about. So I believe it would be under Sword and Shield pre-order promo. No, that's not it. That's the Kanazawa, which I think this card is really great too. This Kanazawa Pikachu card. But anyways, you guys get what I'm talking about here. That Pikachu promo card. I think both of them honestly are going to be good cards. The promo cards in general, I've always really liked. I think they always have potential. I personally like the Japanese promos a little bit better myself, but I'm a little biased in that regard. But yeah, I think that's probably a good investment, my friend. I mean, you can already see that the figure collections are going for pretty good money out on the open market. So I would imagine that promo is probably going to follow suit. Hey, OmniPoke says anytime, just hit me up whenever. Hey, I will, my friend. I'll send you over a message and we'll get that scheduled. Because like I said, I would love to dive into that aspect. I myself, I'm not very well versed in the competitive arena, so I would definitely like to learn more, and I think a lot of other people would too, because it's not just collectors, it's not just investors. We have a large community of competitive players and people that are interested in learning more about that and getting into that arena. I'll tell you what, guys, you really want to make money, go ahead and win a Pokemon Worlds tournament. That's where the real money is at. It's OmniPoke can maybe attest to this, or maybe can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've heard, there's a pretty good little chunk of change for winning those tournaments. So maybe that's the direction. You should just stop listening to PokéNav and just learn how to play the actual competitive game. But yeah, OmniPoke, I'll be reaching out to you, my friend. I appreciate that. Hey Blake, I appreciate that super chat, my man. Thank you so much. That's right, guys. Double slap attack. We got 127 people here, but we only got 68 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get it over 100. All right, let's see what we got. And Team Trubbish was asking if we'll have the beard for the rest of 2021. So typically what I like to do is I usually start growing out the beard the first day of fall, and then I usually shave it the first day of spring. For those of you that don't know, down here in the Phoenix area, down here in the desert, not all of Arizona, but at least down here in the desert, it gets really, really hot during the summer. So a beard is not the most pleasant thing to have on your face when it's 115 outside. But I don't know. I might consider it. I might consider maybe just trimming it down, keeping that little mini beard. Well, and especially if PokéRev reaches out to me and he wants to start that beard care line, that Pokebeards, then I have no choice. If I'm going to be one of the faces of the brand, you've got to represent it. All right, Steed. Let's see. We've got one here. Steed0293. Do we have any more reason to believe that Cosmic Eclipse will be reprinted? I mean, we haven't heard anything, but that is definitely not any indication that it won't happen. So you always run that risk. I think honestly at this point, Radar and I were talking about it the other night, that you essentially have to wait about 4 years before I think you can get out of that time frame or where you run the risk of a product being reprinted. Now, I mean, that's short-term implications. Long-term probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference. But if you're looking for more of a short-term gain, you're probably going to need to wait for that 4-year time frame from the time that it's released to really start considering more of a taking more of a position in that particular set. At least that's our sentiment. A lot of people asking for Pokénomics. Yeah, I would love to. I've actually talked to Jake on a couple occasions, and he's actually been in these lives on a couple of occasions. Great guy, wealth of knowledge as well. Definitely one of those that I'm hoping to get on. It's just it's tough. People are busy, and I understand they don't always have a whole lot of time. I can understand that completely. But yeah, definitely like to get actually both Jake and Rafi on for a podcast, because they're both a wealth of knowledge. So I'll definitely keep them on my list. CJ Do Work, what do you did you hear about Yizzy selling Champions Path packs for $40 a pack on the Whatnot app? A Possum Bud posted about it on Instagram. I don't know. I didn't even hear about that, to be honest. And I really don't like to kind of butt in on what other people are doing. Everyone has their own way of conducting business or content or anything like that. And guys, in the end, if sometimes it's not necessarily just about the price. We've been talking about this a lot, especially Jules and myself. With everything that's gone on this year, sometimes it's just the fact of being able to get in on something where you're together as a community, and sometimes price is irrelevant. And also, as a content creator, as someone that's trying to, I'm sure, for him, he's trying to reinvest a lot of that back into his channel, to provide better content, and also perhaps to provide, products. It's not always easy, especially when you're taking into consideration a lot of those costs. So, I can't really, I can't really slap the hand of anybody, because if there's others out there that are willing to pay a higher price and a premium, sometimes it has more to do with just the fact of supporting a content creator rather than necessarily the price itself. And sometimes that's what it boils down to. They just really they want to pay that because it's more or less it's almost like a Patreon. They're paying that so that they can support their favorite content creators. So now, for myself, I have a different way of doing things. I have a different way of conducting business. But again, I can't fault anybody else for the way that they want to go, about it. Everyone's got their own way of doing things. All right, let's see. Here's a good one. Schematics Finch, what do you see as a fad in the current Poke market? Current fad. Well, I would say one of the fads that I've seen is that it seems like you can't be a viable PokeTuber without a beard. It seems like that's one of the biggest trends of the last year, is that the beard has taken over in the PokeTuber world. We still got people holding out, not fully committing yet. Leonhardt, he's sticking with that clean shave look. He hasn't gone over to the dark side yet. But that seems to be probably the most prevalent trend, is the bearded PokeTubers. And that's not to downplay any of the lady content creators out there. I'm sure if they could grow a beard, they would too. All right, let's see. Spencer says, I have a Walmart 144 count Evolutions pack box. Should I sell it now or hold on to it? Honestly, it depends on your goals. And I know I never get into, people say that I'm never into the specifics with questions like this, but really look at your goals. Do you want to try to turn that? Is that some of the only product that you have? And do you want to turn that and maybe start diversifying into other areas? I believe, a lot of Evolutions packs are going for about $10 to $15 right now. So if you've got 144 of those, which is what the equivalent of essentially 5-6 booster boxes. Maybe try selling some of those off, investing it into other places, diversifying your portfolio. And again, the wider that you can appeal to your customer base, the more appealing that you're going to be. And I think the better chance of success that you have. Michael Pisano says, any recommendations on selling graded cards on eBay? I've said it before, guys. I've never really done a whole lot of selling on eBay. A lot of it was person to person, in person type of selling. And actually, I'll give you guys a hint as well. One of the other guests that I'll be having on the show is David Person, which is Persin. If you guys haven't heard of him yet, definitely check him out. He's got some fantastic videos on selling cards on eBay and goes into great detail about exactly how to do it, gives a lot of good recommendations, and I'm going to be having him on the Pokemon Masterclass here soon as well. So we'll be diving into all of that, what makes a good eBay seller, good tactics to employ. So that will definitely be an episode that you'll want to catch. Let's see. W Ride Along says, how do you see the gold stars doing in 2021? They're hard to come by, guys, and they have been for a long time. I mean, take a look on eBay. You're going to be hard pressed to try to find them. I think they're going to continue. They're going to continue to go up in value. They were kind of that EX era, they were that era's chase card. And that was kind of the downturn in Pokemon. That was kind of the low point for Pokemon, and there wasn't a lot of products out on the shelves because Pokemon really wasn't doing that well. It really wasn't that appealing to the larger community, nothing like it is now. So there's not a lot of those out there. And again, even in a PSA 7 condition, or perhaps even lower, those cards continue to go up in value. And I just see that continuing throughout 2021. Yang Power says, local selling, same price as scalpers or higher. What are your thoughts on this? I've seen it. Yep. I mean, I can concur with it. I've been to card shops. I've been to, other places where, they're selling at those really high premiums. On one hand, I kind of understand, because, they have a business. The pandemic has affected them. And so they're trying to maybe recoup some of the lost profit, that they missed out on throughout 2020. So on one hand, from a business perspective, I kind of understand it. You see that. You saw a lot of industries having to increase prices on products or services because they're just trying to survive. So on one hand, I understand that, but at the same time, there's also places out there that are still selling at MSRP. So you just have to dig a little bit deeper. So for me, there's never really black and white on pretty much anything. It's always that gray area in between that I usually fall. Let's see, get through a couple more questions here, and then we'll go ahead and call it a night. And if you guys wouldn't mind, we are 15 likes away from 100. If you guys could do me a favor, go ahead, guys, give me that double slap attack. Just one slap though. One slap for the like. Don't double slap it, otherwise it'll unlike it. In my early videos, that's why I had to kind of rephrase how I went about that, because you don't want to double slap the like button. You just want one slap for the like, one slap for the subscribe. So let's try to get that over 100 here in the next few minutes, guys. The Oddish, do you think CGC will see growth and or trust in the market given their recent controversies? It's going to be hard to come back from, but you know, PSA, Beckett, you know, they've had different controversies in the past as well. You know, it's being the new kid on the block. It's going to be tough, I think, breaking into this market, especially now that PSA has been bought out and is now owned by a private entity. I really see them expanding upon their workforce, expanding upon their operations, and making it easier for people to get their cards graded and to get back faster. So I think they've got an uphill climb against PSA, probably even more so going on in the next year or so. But you know, they've got a long history behind them with comics. You know, our boy Jules, he's worked with CGC before for his comics. So it's hard to say. I mean, this one thing, you know, will it stain their entire reputation? Probably not. You know, as more people enter the hobby, and if the backlogs continue with PSA and Beckett, people are still going to want to get their cards graded sooner rather than later, and so you're still going to see CGC cards coming out onto the market, and I think they'll get past it. And in the long term, if they can innovate and you know, make their service really seamless, and really go beyond PSA or Beckett in that regard, then ultimately I think that's what'll lend to their long-term viability. Oddish says, rapid strike that like button. That's a new one. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. All right, let's get through a couple more here. Let's see, I always botch this one. You've been in before. Giraffe-etica. What are your thoughts on certain creators pumping out / hyping up certain products after recently saying they own a position on it and tell everyone to invest on, almost like they're trying to pump it? I mean, I don't know of anyone in particular. Like I said, it's well, first of all, I'm an entrepreneur. I have other businesses. I have my regular job. I have my content creating. I have Pokemon selling. It's hard to keep up on the rest of things going on out there. And I although I try to support other content creators, to be honest with you, it's hard for me to pay attention a lot of the time just because I'm busy. So I don't know of anyone in particular. But I mean, I know it's out there. I know it's out there. That's where, for me, I try to be as objective as possible on this channel, you know, as best that I can, and just try to offer you guys, you know, objective information. And that's also where the interviews and this new Pokemon Masterclass series comes in, because I want people, when I'm you know, having interviews, I want them to challenge me as well. And I think you'll see a little bit of that in the first episode between Radar and myself. I think we challenged each other, you know, on some of our viewpoints. And I want that. I want people to challenge me, to make me rethink things, to make me maybe reevaluate the way that I go about the business, the way that I go about content creating, all of those different things, and just really keeping an open mind. So, you know, it's like I said, I try to do my best. I try to keep it as objective as possible. Am I always successful in that? Probably not. But that's, you know, I think it's, no matter what, it's pretty obvious, you know, when you're watching somebody, it's pretty obvious if they have your best interests in mind, and they're trying to provide you information that's going to benefit you rather than just them. So I think we're pretty good at picking up on that. So I would say that, without knowing anyone in particular, I think most people can probably derive that information for themselves. All right, let's see. I think I will get to one more question, guys, and then we will go ahead and call it a night. Had a couple people drop in tonight. It was good to see OmniPokey, and he gave me the thumbs up that we can do an interview, so that was nice. Yeah, guys, that's definitely one thing that I would be on the lookout for. Starting next week will be the Pokemon Masterclass series. Really looking forward to dropping that and providing you guys with more information and more specifically education. It's really what I try to do, and that's kind of the niche I feel like that maybe I've created for the channel is education. And that's really, I want to provide entertainment, and I want to provide, like through things like box breaks, and a way for you guys to get in on products and enjoy that and be together as a community. But at the core of it is the education and hopefully insight. I'd like to believe that there's insight in there as well. All right, so let's get to one more question here. Let's see who's. All right, next person to drop the question is going to get it answered. So the first person to drop in their question in the live chat, that'll be the last question that I answer for the night. Who's it going to be? Oh, here we go. So it looks like it's going to be Schematics Finch. What is your dream interview for Masterclass series and why? It's a good one, because the interesting thing is that there's different areas of the TCG, and there's experts, there's people that are at the top of their game in all these different areas. But I would say that if there was one in particular, honestly, it would have to be as long as we could get the translation, we could translate to each other, would be what is it? Satoshi Tajiri, the original creator of Pokemon. Just to be able to sit down with the person that created all of this, his imagination was able to create this empire, really, and this hobby that we enjoy so much, from so many different aspects, from the TCG to the anime to the video games, all of that, that was at one time in his mind. And just to pick his brain about where he's seen it go from the original video games, from the original Game Boy games until now, and everything that's happened in between, and just to understand that kind of brilliance, really, that kind of visionary process. I think that would probably be it. I mean, what better person than the creator, right? Than the creator of this entire hobby. I think that would be really cool. Really cool. All right, guys. Well, I think that is going to do it for tonight. As always, I enjoyed having all of you in here. As I said before, if I didn't answer your question in this live Q&A, feel free to send me an email, PokéNav27@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and send me a direct message on Instagram at Pokemon_Navigator, and I will do my best to get back to you on either of those platforms. All right, guys. Other than that, be on the lookout next week. We've got some great content dropping. Mondays, you're really, really going to like, because you guys are going to be benefiting from Monday's video, or potentially benefiting from it, but have an awesome video slated for Monday, and it's going to be the first of, I guess I'll give you a little hint. It's going to be the first and the early precursor to what you might be seeing on the website, and you guys will have a chance to get in on that. So that will be on Monday, and then on Wednesday we'll be dropping the first episode of the Pokemon Masterclass series featuring Pokemon Radar. So be on the lookout for that. And then other than that, next Friday we will join again right here in the navigation station for another live Q&A. So guys, again, thank you so much for your support. Appreciate all of you, Navigation Nation. Other than that, I will see you all next time. My name is PokéNav. I'm here to help you navigate the world of Pokemon, one video at a time, and I will see you all in the next video.